moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. We need a motion to approve our previous board meeting minutes for March.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. Next, we have a presentation of certificates.
Good evening. I'd like to recognize Mrs. Lori Dean on her retirement at the conclusion of the school year. Unfortunately, she could not be here tonight. She's actually teaching on the adult side tonight, this evening, so she could not make it. But just want to recognize her and congratulate her on her 28 years here in the Madison district and the service and dedication that she gave to our students and our community. So just wanted to recognize Mrs. Dean for that accomplishment.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to recognize Maxine Hall on her retirement. Just a little bit about Maxine. She started working for Madison Schools as a substitute secretary. She did that for several years until 1993 when she was awarded a full-time contract in adult education. She's retired with 30 years and served all 30 years in adult education. And I just want to say that Maxine is just one of the most loyal, dedicated, reliable employees. She would always go above and beyond, always willing to assist. She never missed work. I don't know if you hear this very often, but she's retired with the maximum number of sick days that you can accumulate. So she was always there. But most of all, she became a very, very good friend to so many of us. You can see there's a few of us here to recognize her and thank her for her 30 years of service. We're truly going to miss her.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I'm here to recognize one of our bus drivers, Randy Kessler. He's been here since 2009. Randy always has a positive attitude. He's a great employee. He always keeps our spirits up if we're down, and he's just a great employee, and I sure will miss him. I'm hoping he'll help us in some field trips and maybe some other stuff. We'll work on that.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks. And I didn't save all my sick days. I used a few of them up.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I just want to say something about Mike. He's a great boss to work for. He's called me on the carpet a few times, but everything always works out. But yeah, Mike's a great guy to work for. You got a good guy. To put up with the parents of bus drivers like me, he's all right. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
This time, we'll have our recognition of visitors, if anyone wants to address the board on an agenda item. If not, then we will move on to our visitors. Mr. Rickert, I think that's you.
I want to thank the board for having us tonight. I've got with me two of our winter athletes that had very special seasons this year. One of them is returning. He was actually here last year as we recognized him, so that's always a good thing. This is Michael Thomas and Hunter Hutchison, and Michael is a junior, so he will be back next year, and Hunter is graduating, but they both made it to the state tournament this year in wrestling, which is quite a feat. And Hunter, I just want to say that is, he was only one of 3 kids that have ever placed twice at state here at Madison, so quite an accomplishment. I just want to take just a couple of things that they did here that I brought with me just to show you what their season was like. Michael was a Tom Ellis Classic runner-up this year, a Paul Hackett Classic champion. He was 4th place at the North Canton Hoover Holiday Tournament, 7th place at the Gorman, 5th place at Top Gun, 3rd place at Sally George Invitational. He was a Northwest Sandusky sectional champion and district runner-up, and of course made it to the state tournament. Hunter was the Tom Ellis Classic champion, a Paul Hackett Classic champion. He was 3rd place at the North Canton Hoover Holiday Tournament and 4th place at the J.C. Gorman. He was a Top Gun runner-up, a Sally George Invitational champion, Ohio Cardinal Conference champion, and he was also a Northwest Sandusky sectional champion and district runner-up, and finished 5th at the state tournament. So very proud of what these two young men have done. And also Brian, their coach, is over there, does a fantastic job for us also, and that's why we're able to have these two young men compete down there, and just wanted to give them a round of applause and recognize them tonight. Thank you.
Hello again. Would like to recognize and honor two of our students from our business chapter, the Business Professional of America with Mrs. North in our Career Tech program. Last month they had their state competitions, and they qualified for the national competition, which takes place in Anaheim, California. Unfortunately, tonight they could not make it here. They had a baseball game, and the other one is working. They could not get off of work for this. But senior Zach Glasgow, he finished 5th in the state and did qualify for nationals. Unfortunately, he is not able to be here with us, but he qualified for the legal office procedures to compete at the national competition. And junior Haley Vernon qualified for advanced spreadsheet applications. She is actually making the trip along with Mrs. North to Anaheim, California on Wednesday. So congratulating them and wishing Haley the best of luck as she competes next week. Thank you.
At this time, we'll have our our administrative committee reports. Legislative Committee,
No report.
Athletic Board of Control.
Haven't met.
Okay. We have our winner?
Oh, I forgot. That was between the levies. Yes, we did. We met and did our winter review, and we covered and approved the budget for next year. And one of the topics we had was conversation about the conference. It's being upheld right now because we're worrying about the other part of the school and doing that. But report went well. Coaches put everything in, and everything was completed. So we'll complete the winter portion of it. Thanks, Tim.
That's okay. We've been to so many meetings lately, it's hard to keep them straight. Student representative comments tonight.
Hi, I hope everyone's having a good day today, enjoying the nice weather. I'll start with sports. So starting with softball, a great one to start with. They're 10-1 right now. They're having a great season. They were just ranked 1st in the state for our division. And Bree Bowles just broke the home run record for Madison, which is really awesome. Baseball's looking to make a statement with their next coming week. They have a lot of wins under their belt as of right now. Tennis, the coach just mentioned they have a great team this year, so much better than last year. They've had a lot of improvement. They had a lot of placers at their invites recently, which is really awesome. And track, we have a lot of standout athletes this year. We have a lot of placers at invitationals. It's a great year for the track team. Music-wise, the chorale and women's chorus actually made it to state this year, and they will be performing this Friday at their state competition. The musical Into the Woods went really great. There was an amazing turnout. I was there. It was really awesome if you got to go. School-wise, prom is upcoming in 10 days, so they're starting to sell tickets. Everyone's getting really excited for that. As Mr. Grove mentioned, a lot of success in Skills USA with their many departments had a lot of awards that they won, and multiple students making it to the state competitions and even national competitions. National Honor Society had their service day at the baseball complex, in which we mulched, put up signs, lots of things like that. We got a lot of praise for that from the people in charge there. It was really awesome. And then there's about a month until graduation, so preparing for senior things, senior night for NHS, all that sort of thing. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Facilities report.
Mr. President and Board, we had a very productive spring break. While the teachers and students got a much-needed break, we got a lot of work done at the high school, including replacing some badly deteriorated asphalt, which was right where the bus drops off some of our special needs students, and we replaced that with a nice, even, flat concrete pad. We finished a plumbing project and a flooring project in the Ramble Inn to help them with their licensing. We also got about 30% of the equipment installed for the high school air conditioning project, and we plan on that company's going to start working second shift next week to get that done as soon as possible. We also did some much-needed tuck pointing at Mifflin Elementary School in the brick facade there, and we replaced all the gym pads at Eastview Elementary School. We had been written up by the health department because they become worn out and weren't considered sanitary anymore, so we replaced all of those. Currently, we're looking at the projects we're going to do this summer, and they're considerable. I've said this before, it's probably the most highest number of projects I've tried to tackle in the summertime, but we've got a lot of good contractors working on getting things set up, and the maintenance team is working very hard to get it going. Some of the things we're going to be working on this summer include major roofing projects at the high school and at Mifflin Elementary School. We'll also be resurfacing our tennis courts at the high school and doing some structural repairs on the high school stadium bleachers that is desperately needed. Other than that, like I said, we have probably altogether another 6 or 7 projects that we're working on over the summertime. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Student achievement.
Okay, so at the Career Center, 6 out of 6 students from the Customer and Office Support Technologies program passed 5 certifications each in customer service, Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and Outlook. 5 of the 6 students also earned their high school diploma through the Adult Diploma Program. Enrollments in the April 18th STNA class are nearly at our max and include 7 Adult Diploma Program students. And enrollments in the May 1st phlebotomy EKG program are nearly at the max. At the high school, they had their first 2 days of end-of-course testing on March 29th and 30th as sophomores took the ELA 2 test. Teachers and administrators were very proud of how hard the students worked on the exam and hopeful that this will lead to positive results. Now that they're back from spring break, they have several other end-of-course exams coming up. At the end of March, Hope Barrett, Allie Wigton, Allie Cook, Hunter Hutchison, Zach Glasgow, and Jaden Jeffries went to Eastview to speak with the 3rd and 4th grade students about the importance of hard work as they prepared for their upcoming state tests. On March 29th, the Mansfield Optimist Club held a banquet at the Dan Lew Exchange to honor outstanding students from throughout the area. Madison was well represented. Congrats to Zach Glasgow and Allie Cook for being recognized as high-quality students. The Optimist Club also awarded 2 scholarships to area students. Both were won by Madison students. Congrats to Allie Wigton and Brooklyn Thomas for winning the scholarships. Congrats to Morgan Ladd, Olivia Lord, Zoe Robinson, Aubrey Ward, Emily Nolan, and Dayton Martin for being award winners at the area-wide Art Palooza. All students did a wonderful job and represented Madison well. Special thanks to Mr. Godsell and Mr. Davis for their work with the students. Recruitment for the Upward Bound program will continue in early May. This is a program designed to assist economically disadvantaged students explore post-secondary opportunities after graduation. It is spearheaded by Mr. Jacob Gillum from The Ohio State University in Mansfield. At the middle school, ELA testing has been completed this month for grades 5 through 8. The expectation recommendation for students during the state testing are for students to demonstrate effective testing habits during the tests that they have been taught this school year. These testing habits include focusing on the test, giving their best effort, answering all parts of the question, and using all tools available to them. If students demonstrate these habits during testing, they are rewarded with tickets that they can enter into raffles for different prizes. There were 13 different local businesses that partnered in with the middle school to encourage students to do their best on the test by generously donating prizes and gifts. These businesses were recognized in the middle school and district newsletter. Also, special thanks to Mrs. Cox and Mr. Peterson, who prepared speeches and spoke to our student body at an assembly the Friday before ELA testing to encourage our students to do their best on the test. At Mifflin, students were able to sit through a directed drawing with an author and illustrator, Steve Harpster, where they were able to make connections between books from the classroom to authentic writing and drawing pieces. Student Council wanted to show its appreciation for Mifflin staff and was able to make and serve a delicious breakfast in the library. Students earned their class DOJO point goal, attended an in-house field trip where they saw different science experiences come to life as well as physics in action. May brings back a lot of annual Mifflin traditions to conclude the school year, and students will take their Ohio State test in math next week, followed by several field trips. And lastly, at Madison South, our first and fourth grade students held the spelling bee within their grade levels recently. All students competing did great and gave fantastic effort. In first grade, the top three finishers were Kaylee Stevens coming in third, Evan Baldridge coming in second, and Kobe McCoy coming in first. In fourth grade, Annalise Barber took home third place, while Gavin Moore finished second, and the winner for fourth grade was Mikaelin Jarvis. Congratulations.
Thank you. Board policy.
No report.
Okay. Superintendent's update.
A few things to update you on. First of all, I'm surprised Olivia Lord didn't share this, but as I understand it, there's 25 days of school left. 22 for seniors, but who's counting? So we're coming down the home stretch. We've got 5 weeks left and a lot of events, special events coming up over the next 5 weeks, culminating with graduation right here in the middle school gym Friday, May 26th at 7:30. Also, just to echo what Olivia said, our girls softball team is off to a great start. They are ranked first in the state. Unfortunately, they did lose last night. They're playing the team that they lost to last night again tonight, so hopefully they can get some revenge and knock Mount Vernon off. Want to recognize Mifflin School for being awarded the Purple Star Award again, and essentially what that is for their support of students who have family members, parents who are in the military. And so I'd like to read, I received from the interim superintendent of public instruction at ODE, received this letter and just wanted to read a brief piece of it, kind of explaining the Purple Star recognition. Dear Superintendent, I am pleased to inform you the Ohio Department of Education has renewed Mifflin Elementary School's designation as a Purple Star school. I applaud and appreciate your unwavering commitment to serving military-connected students and families. To be successful in school and when transitioning between school settings, Ohio's military-connected youth require supports to ensure their unique social, emotional, and academic needs are met. The Purple Star Award your school is receiving today signifies your school's demonstrated commitment to serving these students and their families. So I just want to congratulate Mifflin on renewal of their Purple Star Award. And then lastly, just want to share with you an opportunity that our Career Tech Department has. This has not been finalized yet through legislation, but it is on the fast track to happening within the budget bill. There is a Career Tech expansion grant that is coming, and the expectation is that we are prepared to apply for it before it even passes through the legislature. It's an assurity to happen. So we are looking into options with that, and a couple of things, a couple of ideas that we anticipate applying for with the state grant funds is to add on to the back of the Career Tech wing of our building, which would be backed by the baseball and softball fields, add classrooms onto that for the labs that are back there. And what that does is it opens up more lab space in the labs so that we can accept more students into those programs. Right now, some of our programs have wait lists, which means kids who want to be in those programs can't get in them, and so we would be able to expand lab space, and that's really what the grant is all about. And then one of the other items that we're looking at is our health tech lab on the second floor. That'd be more in the front of the building. That lab hasn't been renovated for some time, and the goal would be to renovate that space and bring it up to where it should be at this time. And then going back to the back of the building, one piece that I left out, we're also looking at adding a new electricity lab, which would again create additional space, and it would open up a space, and this piece really can't be a part of the grant, but we've been looking to add a career tech program for special needs students, and by adding the new electricity space to the end of the building, that would open up where electricity is now for that program for special needs students. So that's not part of the grant, but that's kind of looking down the road what we'd like to do with that space. So we are looking at it very closely. We want to make sure we can get the grant funds to cover everything that needs to be done so that we don't need to use general fund monies to expand. So that's a big project ongoing right now as we prepare to apply for that grant.
Okay, sounds exciting. Next, we have a presentation from Mrs. Wigton from Eastview Elementary. She's going to have a couple helpers.
Some helpers, lots of helpers. While they're all headed this way, I just wanted to take an opportunity to let Randy was a driver, or is a driver for our Eastview kiddos, and he has been a fabulous driver for our kids. Great relationships with staff, great relationships with students, always bringing a smile at the end of the day. I'm lucky to say that I would always get rewarded with a Werther's Original. Every day at the end of the day, it was guaranteed. I didn't know if I wanted to bring it up in front of Mike, because I don't know if he had that as well, but I did, so it made me feel special, and definitely going to miss that and miss him. So happy retirement to you. You look really ready to go. Okay, so I'm kind of surprised this is the first slide. Are there two slides before that slide? All right. Oh, yep, there. That's my slide. Okay. So I'm just going to share a couple of things, and then I'm going to turn it over to all my helpers here behind me. One of the things that we've been excited about is the amount of growth that our students have had so far this year. What I have up on the projected is starting with reading. Our students at the beginning of the year, when we took our iReady diagnostic, we had 30% of our students that were testing on or above grade level for reading, and mid-year, so just halfway there, we grew that number to 50%, so that was a huge jump. So what that means for our annual growth, that 67% of our students were above the target. So to the right, you can see the progress to annual typical growth. You want to see 50% as your projected number, and we were at 67%. So we're well above our target for our reading. And then for math, we came in at just 15% of our students that were on or above level. The other levels are also spelled out if you want to check them out. But we over doubled that with our mid-year checkpoint and went to 38%. And again, for that annual typical growth, we're looking for 50%, and we were at 62%. So I'm really excited when we do our diagnostics again at the end of the year to see where we are. I know that it's going to be an awesome number, and that is accounted to the fantastic teachers and staff that we have at Eastview. We have a great system of teachers who do well above and beyond for our students every day. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to one of those fabulous teachers, Ms. Thompson, who is our student leadership advisor, and we have some of our students here who will then take over the presentation tonight.
Hello, thank you. Hello, like she said, I'm Ms. Thompson, and this is my first year leading the student council, and it was fun.
You might want to grab the mic and hold it. That way you can hold it. Sorry.
For that. This goes in here. So this is my first year with the kiddos, and we met once a month on the mornings, and we did like advertising for our PBIS events, and they made posters to encourage the students throughout the quarter to do well with their behavior. And then I'm going to turn it over and let them go into a little bit more detail about all the fun we had this year. Ready? Okay.
Hello, my name is William. We are excited to share all of the wonderful things that have been happening at Eastview this year. I will start you off with our traditions. We always start the fall season with our costume parade. It's always fun to see our friends dressed up for the day. We also enjoy learning from the Madison Fire Department every year. We love getting to tour the fire trucks, ambulance, and some years spraying the hose. Each year we have grandparent and parent lunch week. It is cool to be able to eat lunch with family and our friends.
You can take the microphone out so they can hold it.
Hello, my name is Benton. Our traditions are wonderful to have each year. However, we had many new and fabulous assemblies as well. We were delighted to learn about different animals from the Barnhill Animal Preserve, as well as learn about the planet and star through the Sky Dome. We also had author and illustrator David Fitzsimmons share his experience with us. Our learning continued on our field trips. Kindergarten visited the Little Buckeye Museum. First grade enjoyed a day at Ramsayer's Farm. Second grade will be going to the Ohio Bird Sanctuary. Third grade watched a play at the Mansfield Academy Theater. Fourth grade traveled to the State House in Columbus, Ohio. We love these adventures with our friends.
Hello, my name is Peyton. We continue to grow from presentations by the Madison High School Invitation Team. They discussed Black History Month and leadership with us. We were visited from Eastview student Jaden Jeffries. We were excited to see and hold his basketball MVP trophy. Many high school student athletes and scholars visited us during our state test pep rally to encourage us to do our best. Hello, my name is Amir. Not only did we learn a lot from our assemblies, but we also learned a lot in our classrooms. We celebrated our success and hard work with our quarterly academic awards. As third and fourth grades, we get the added bonus of our honor roll ice cream. Not only did we learn our individual classrooms, but we learn as a school too. Through a grant, we were able to share in the experience of one book, one school again. This year, our book was Fenway and Hattie. We enjoyed trivia games, reading with our families, and raising money for the Richland County Dog Shelter. As the issue and action team, we made tie blankets for the animal at the shelter. We are excited to present those blankets on Literacy Night coming up. Good job. Hello, my name is Ashley. In addition to celebrating our academic achievements, we also celebrated our smart behavior choices. We earned DOJO points throughout each quarter. When we got to 100 points, we received a certificate and our name is announced during morning announcements, as well as our names begin displayed on bulletin board. Due to our good choices, we are able to attend the PBIS events. This year, our PBIS events include the Magic of Science, Jungle Terry, and an illustrator, Steve Harpster.
Hello, my name is Anthony. Finally, we shared our learning with the community through our production of the SEUSSICAL. It was a blast to show off our talents. We worked hard and were proud of our achievement. Other grades joined in. The fun with their grade level music programs throughout the year. As this school year is coming to a close, we are looking forward to the last few adventures coming up. Thank you for listening to all the fun we had this year at Eastview. We appreciate your time and all that you do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Reynolds, I believe, or Metzger, you're next.
Different Chad. Good evening. I'm here to present you with a program that I've been working on for quite some time now, and I'm actually really excited about. It's something that is a little outside the box, but actually. CCP, College Credit Plus, has been around for a little while, and we actually kind of brought the math portion of CCP back when Mr. Peterson was principal, and we kind of spearheaded that and got that started a little while ago, but it's kind of evolved now, and the options for College Credit Plus, typically students can either go out to the college, or if they have you have a certified teacher, you can teach at the school, and through there the students don't necessarily have to do all the traveling, okay? But there are a lot of schools out there right now that don't have CCP teachers. That's whether because they don't have the certified staff to qualify for it, or they don't have enough students to justify having a class there at the school, because you got to use your resources wisely. I definitely have seen this as a problem, and I think it's something that we can easily solve, especially with the technology that we have today and, the resources that we have here at Madison, especially because I know there's going to be teachers like myself out there that are willing and wanting to do this. Before I really get going, I do want to add a note in here thanking Mr. Peterson and Mr. Conway both. Ever since I brought this to them, they've been right on board and just very, very supportive the entire way through, which I know when teachers come to administration with ideas, sometimes like they made good ideas, but sometimes they fizzle out, but they definitely have not let that happen, and I'm very appreciative of that. So, make sure I got my notes here, keep going. I just like to talk about it for the most part. The immediate goal that we have in front of us is that we want to service and educate some of our advanced students in high schools where and when there is either a lack of qualified teachers or too few students to offer a particular course. This definitely is benefiting these other schools, but it also at the same time will benefit Madison. Give you a quick example. This year, unfortunately, I've been teaching CCP calculus the past several years, but this school year particularly, we did not have enough students to justify a full classroom to have that in. But you take a few students from Madison, a few students from a couple other neighboring schools as well, and then you have enough students to actually justify a class. And so that's just one benefit. I'm going to go into a lot more of them here as we go on. And part of the idea of presenting to you guys today is I really, really want to stress my passion for this, and that this can be a very, very big thing that a lot of schools start to join in on as well. It's kind of the future of where we can lead some things in the education world and really benefit our students, and that is the bottom line, is that we want to do what's best for kids all around. Some of the problems that schools have, and I know I'm touched on this a little bit, but some teachers don't have qualified, schools don't have the qualified teachers. So the problem is they send them out to the schools, okay? They send them out to the colleges, and they seek adjunct professors to do the jobs that their teachers would. And this is a cost to the school, but the idea is to, part of this program is to help minimize some of those costs. But at the same time, we are trying to keep students in the schools. Okay, I'll probably touch on this later as well, but school culture is huge. You guys know if you've been in a classroom or if you've taught, or even here at board meetings, you probably know this as well. The presence or support of one person or a couple of people that are very, very supportive and enthusiastic change the entire atmosphere of not just your classroom, of your entire school. The idea is to try to, one, keep these kids at the schools to where they're not traveling, one, for safety, and two, for just, again, keeping in that school culture. College adjunct professors, when students do go out there, which again is a good option for kids who do need to explore other avenues and they're ready for those advanced courses. Adjunct professors may or may not have a teaching degree. And that's not a knock against them, that's just the facts. They don't necessarily have a teaching degree, where if you use a certified teacher at your home school, they're trained to teach high schoolers, they're trained to teach students. So therefore, you're going to have a better teaching experience, or the students are going to be able to transition into that college level class a lot better and a lot easier than they would just going straight out and kind of being thrown out there. The too few students to offer a course, okay? I touched on it as well. You're going to take students from each participating school, add them to the current students you have in a classroom, and then you're going to be able to develop a full classroom where you can actually justify using a teacher. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, so I apologize, but the too many students leaving the school is a great thing for them to get their college education started. But again, the numbers at the school are going to help keep your school culture up. It's going to help keep employees there at the school, because if you have all these students leaving, and I know there are some school districts that have that problem, that so many kids are leaving for other revenues and other schools, that they don't have the enrollment in their schools as much, and they don't have the need for as many teachers. There we go. The plan for teaching this class. I know a lot of people hear the word remote teaching and remote learning, and then you think back to COVID in 2020, I was like, oh gosh, I hated learning online, I said it wasn't for me. That's not how I envision a remote class going, or how a remote class should be. How I teach, and I've been teaching this way for a while, I record my classes, I screenshot basically of my classes, and I record that and teach live at the same time. That's what I also did through the whole pandemic, is that students had to sign in, or they were highly encouraged to sign in and be there in class, because I can teach to them, they can ask me questions in real time. You don't just get a video and say, hey, here, learn, because they're not going to do that. Making them sign in and participate with you is going to allow them to continue to grow in their education. I think that was a big problem we had with remote learning, was not that, again, no fault of teachers, we just kind of were thrown into a bad situation, but now we know a little bit more and we can create that safe space where kids can still continue to learn and can create that structure and schedule for them. Now, just to say, if I'm teaching this class and a kid happens to be absent, okay, well, what happens? They miss the live instruction. Well, that's the whole point of recording the class. If they do miss a class or absent, they can log in, find the video, or I point them to the video, say, all right, watch this. You can ask me questions the next live class that we have. That way, again, you can learn with me. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever tried to type out math text in an email. Okay, especially when you're going advanced math, it's not necessarily an easy feat, let alone you're trying to get them to understand a complex level of math, and yet you need them to be able to read what you're typing out there or understand what the symbology means. That's not going to happen, okay, or at least not at a very effective level. What we'd end up doing is we end up holding office hours before after school for those students as well that couldn't necessarily come in before school. That's my general plan for teaching this course. Now, you may be thinking too, what are essentially the, oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot about this slide. I just threw up a picture of me teaching. As you can see, as I'm up here, I'm moving around. I'm a very active teacher. You miss that when you just have a video to watch. But again, when I'm talking in those photos up there, I'm actually talking to my students in my classroom, and I'm actually able to, I didn't in these particular videos, but I'm able to talk to students at another school at the same exact time, okay? So right now we're working closely with Clear Fork and Lucas. We do have agreements with them that we are working to start small and try to see if some of their students are interested in this, again, to keep in contact with them. The biggest excitement I got when I was talking to one of the union reps from Clear Fork was that, like, oh wait, you mean this means kids aren't going to leave? Like, oh, that's awesome, because these are our quote-unquote good kids. We want them to stay here. So there was excitement for that. And everywhere I've took this idea, I've been back with resounding encouragement. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, why haven't we done this sooner? Like, well, I don't know. And the honest answer to that is because there's a lot of logistics we had to work out. And that goes into the anticipating of a lot of questions, like what if your schools have different bell schedules, or what if, who's going to monitor these students, what's the cost and what's the benefits and the technology needed, and all the stuff you need to start off with, what courses are you going to offer? Well, through a little bit of work, we sat down with the principals and figured out these questions, and I'll gladly share some of them with you now, but if you have more questions as well, I'm going to stay till the end. If you want to ask me afterwards or after this presentation, you're more than welcome to. But basically, the one I want to hit on is that cost benefit, because, like, why would you want to do this? Why would a school want to join with us, okay? Other than the ones I just stated, the financial benefit, which I'm not going to say it's a great financial benefit, but it is still a financial benefit to the extent. If we send a student out to, let's say, NC State or Ashland or OSU, there is a set cost we have to pay per student, per credit hour for sending them out there. Well, that cost is reduced if we actually have the class at our school and they send us a teacher, but it gets reduced even further when you have a teacher that teaches it themselves. So the idea for helping these other schools as well, like in convincing them that, hey, there's going to be a financial benefit, we're going to have our own teacher at this point where you're not going to pay the higher cost of sending them out there or having them send you a teacher. And so there was some financial working between that, so there was a compensation for the teacher obviously teaching the class, just so that it's worth their time as well, because, I mean, you got to keep everybody happy at some point. Okay? The big benefit for Madison, okay, is, one, look at the limelight it could put on us, as in, hey, this school started something that is involving in bringing together all the schools of Richland County, or, you know, it doesn't just have to be Richland County, but we're bringing all these schools together, and look at the cooperation we're having And again, the benefit for all the kids. One other side benefit, because we are trying to start small, and right now I do believe I'm the only one who's going to be doing the remote for the math classes right now, because we want to see how this works. We want to make sure we work out all the kinks. But the future thought of this is that other schools that may not have a math certified teacher would send some of the kids through, or do the kids remote through the class with me. But at the same time, they might have, let's say, a chemistry teacher, where if we don't have a chemistry CCP teacher, we could have some of our kids offer that course to them. It's not taking any jobs away from anybody, it's just the fact of the matter, a school does not have the teacher or enough kids to do it, so now we have an opportunity where that presents and allows everybody to kind of get a piece of the pie, if you will, okay? There was going to be kind of initial technology costs that we would need to get, the camera set up, microphone set up, and things like that. But I've been vocal about this to other foundations in Richland County, and I've talked to a couple of the colleges. I've talked to the Richland County Foundation. I've also, and the most important one here I want to mention is talked to the retired. Make sure I say the name right. The retired county, Richland County Retired Teachers Association, and Kathy Russell, the president out there. I sent an application in them to just told them what we were doing and how we were trying to do this. And, I'm expecting to get partial funding, and you're just a little bit here, a little bit there, but any little bit can help. Well, I was pleasantly surprised when I get an email back, and they said, well, hey, we met with the committee, we decided to fund your program. And okay, I'm like, all right, good. There's a few $100, and they didn't say an amount in it, but then when she came and delivered the presentation and the check to me, and that's just the certificate she gave me, it was for the full $1,500 that it was going to cost to get started, like completely covered, which was awesome, and I was very, very thrilled about that. And to me, that was more reaffirmation that there's people in this county, there's people in this district that want to see this happen. And it's very, very, very positive outlook that I've seen overall. Make sure I hit everything that I meant to. Yep. I do believe that's just about everything I have. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope I didn't miss anything on there, but I'm open to questions. If you guys have any questions about anything on where this program's going or what we hope it's going to do or just logistics, you may ask me at that, or like I said, I'll stay after as well if you want to ask questions there too.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay, moving on, we have no donations, so treasurer's report. Oh, we need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
All right, well, the financial report, when I talked to you guys in February, I told you some things were off because of timing. Same thing happens in March, they're off because of timing. For example, the real estate revenues were down because they were up in February, so they were down in March. They'll level out in April. Same way with the excess cost. I said, previous year we got it in February, so it was down for the local other revenue. This year, March was up compared to last year. So that's just a matter of timing. Same thing with expenditures. Pretty much timing on all those. The increases are mostly in salaries and benefits, which were expected. The one that is a little bit higher than originally anticipated were substitutes, but Mr. Peterson and I discussed it, and it's completely understandable why, because we have actually more people subbing this year. We have more available, which is good. And previously, in order to keep competitive with all the local other districts, we had to raise what we were paying them. But the one thing I wanted to draw your attention to, ODE finally presented the district profile reports in March. So I changed the very last page, and I wanted to bring your attention to that. I not only put in new graphs, but I put the chart in above for what the district spends compared to similar districts in the state average. And we're right in between similar districts. We're lower than the state average. But what I wanted to point out is instructional expenditures per pupil. You know, administrative expenditures per pupil were lower than both similar districts in the state. Building operations were lower than both other districts in the state. Pupil support were lower. Staff support were lower. But instructional expenditures, we're above similar districts and we're above the state average. Even though our total expenditures are below the state average, our instructional expenditures are above, which tells you that we are spending our money on exactly what we are supposed to be spending it on, instruction. We're not spending it on anything else. So I put that in there because I thought it was extremely important for the board and the community to notice that, you know, this is data that comes from ODE, and this is saying, hey, you know, they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're spending it on instruction, which is exactly what you're supposed to do as a school district. That is all I have for the treasurer's report, but if you have any questions, I'll field them.
Okay. All right. Good information. Thank you.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. I need a motion for matters related to personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
Clarification, are we voting on the original and the addendum, both?
Yes, this includes the addendum as well. Sorry, I didn't say that.
And that would be the revised addendum.
Yes. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
I will be voting yes, with one exception. I would be voting no for Eddie Walker, please.
Did she say Eddie Walker?
Ed Walker.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. At this time, we have superintendent's business. We need a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
Just call your attention to item number 5, and that is what's called night lock security device, and this is being purchased with security grant safety funds. And what that is reinforcement when our teachers will, and this will go into every classroom, on every classroom door, when our teachers lock down, it will reinforce the lockdown and make it extremely difficult for an intruder to get into our classrooms. So this is our use of our safety grant funds and reinforcing the safety of our classrooms and our kids and our staff.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. This time we allow visitors' comments. Okay. Next board meeting will be May 17th. We have Olympics on May 16th and rain date on the 18th. And board members, you should have received an email about volunteering along with all the staff. So we want to encourage everybody to participate. Fun times. At this time, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4. All right, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. Safe going home.